pull on that jersey. You represent yourself and your teammates. And a name on the front is a hell of a lot more important than the one on the back. Get that through your head.
And here we go.
And it is no good. He missed it. Are you kidding me? The season can't end like that.
The playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Some goofball in a hat and a red shirt. Now he takes off the shirt. He's running down the middle by the 50. He's at the 30. He's bare-chested and banging his chest. Now he runs the opposite way. He runs to the 50. He runs to the 40. The guy is drunk, but there he goes. The 20. They're chasing him. They're not going to get him. Waving his arms. Bare-chested. Somebody stop that man.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Nobody Ever Tells Me Anything. I'm your host of the program, Tyler Falk. Great to have you all along. Whenever you may be watching us, either live or later today or later this week, thank you for joining us and supporting the show. First show of a couple, that should be said, as we make the change from going only once a week to going to once every day, every single weekday, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Shorter shows, we're not going to go an hour long anymore. I think that's too much time, and frankly, none of us have a time in this day and age to listen through an entire hour show. So expect this one and a whole lot more to be 15 to 30 minutes tops. And just like that, we are going to go ahead and get right into it. Today's topic, we're talking about divisions. Now, we just had the content creator roundtable this past Saturday, already over 200 plus views. Thank you guys so much for checking that out. A whole bunch of content creators joined us. Ashley Jackson, Nelson Lozano, amongst others. That was a whole lot of fun, and hopefully you guys enjoyed that show. All right, let's get into it, right? We're going to talk about the divisions and where I think everyone is going to end up at the end of the season. So for those of you that don't know or are new to the SFL, the Simulation Football League has 24 teams in 6 divisions, and it gets a whole lot interesting every single season. So just like that, we're going to go ahead and dive in. Normally today, we would talk about maybe getting you caught up on maybe the off season, or for the next couple of weeks when we hit the regular season, we're going to be catching you up on every single game. But today, we're talking divisions. We're going to get you introduced to them right now. The Atlantic Division. And we're going to I'm going to kind of sum it up all for you right now real quick. The Atlantic Division, calm in the storm. Max Paul, otherwise known as Mighty, steps down from coaching. He's currently the owner over there in Florida. But right now, I don't think they've got too much to worry about. Art Vanderlee's coming in. He's a fantastic defensive coach. Already going to make that defense look stronger and play harder than they already have been. And maybe this is their year. Maybe this is Florida's year to take it all the way back to the championship and finally win a championship for the first time in season 12. I think the Atlantic Division still goes the way of Florida. A couple other teams over there in the Atlantic, Carolina, and Charleston. They're probably ending up around 500. Again, new ownership in Charleston midway through the last part of the season. I think they've got some figuring out to do. I don't think Charleston or Carolina are necessarily favorites to make it back to the playoffs. I think they're going to have a tough time. Atlantic Division plays both the Pacific Division and the East Division, so expect them to end up somewhere around 500. Jacksonville, unfortunately, in my opinion, I think Jacksonville is still going to struggle. I really haven't seen a whole lot to bring me confidence in Jacksonville. Their defense Again, a lot of the defensive pieces that were there from season 16 left in season 17, and even more left in season 18, leaving a whole lot of rookies and sophomore players to try and fill in the gaps. Atlantic is looking pretty much, in my opinion, going the way of the Florida Storm. Don't read too much into Max Paul stepping down. He'll still probably be working behind the scenes, but it's Florida's division to lose. All right, let's move on to the rather interesting North Division, and it's the year of the Dragon. It's the year of the Dragon. I'm not picking the DC Dragons to win the division. That's definitely not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this is DC's year to make to the playoffs. Came back out of hibernation back in season 16. They have performed rather well, I would say, with a whole bunch of rookies in their first season. They only improved in season 17, and they're only set up to do great things in season 18. Expect DC to do quite well this season. Don't read into the Simpod's take, though, and having them going 12-0. I think they've got some growing to do, as do a whole bunch of teams, but for a young team like themselves, expect them to, I think they're going to make the playoffs this season. I think they stand as one of the teams, the last 4 teams to make it to the playoffs here in season 18. It should go the way of Baltimore, though, the North Division, and we probably will see London make another run for the playoffs. Queen City, I think, is going to have a slump compared to last season. I think they're going to fall around 500, maybe below 500. They have a tough schedule this season. All right, moving on to the East Division. East Division, it's possibly just a 2-horse race. Atlanta and Louisiana, the 2 strongest teams in that division. St. Louis, medals around 500 every single season, the last couple of seasons. I don't think that should change in the slightest. Maybe not just a 2-horse race in the division, but a 2-horse race in Louisiana. We know that Randy Squarebush came into the fold with the number 5 overall pick for the Revolution. It's going to be interesting to see what the club does with 2 running backs in the backfield. How much game time are they going to give both running backs? Is it going to be maybe Squarebush in the power sets and maybe Colin Hart and more maybe of the open concepts, maybe catching passes out of the backfield? Reggie Streeter did a little bit of both, but I could see, maybe Colin Hart specializing in the pass catching back category or vice versa. It's going to be interesting to see how Louisiana plays it. And for Atlanta, it's going to be interesting to see, can they keep it up? Is the division still Atlanta's? Not a whole lot of changes there. Not a whole lot to talk about for Atlanta. I don't think they've had a single preseason game, if I've caught that correctly. But just a 2-horse race. Probably the team ending up on the back end of it is probably Tulsa. Yes, they won the draft, in my opinion. They drafted Brooke Beisel, Doug Brown. In my opinion, they have the pieces for the future. I just don't think they're not quite there yet. All right, Tex-Mex Division, otherwise known as the South. No easy games. I think the South Division as a whole is going to struggle this season mightily. They go up against the Pacific Division and the North Division. Every single team in the North and Pacific divisions are extremely tough to play against in this league at present. They have to go up against Queen City, London, Baltimore, Vancouver, a resurgent San Diego, a resurgent Portland Fleet Ball Club. And then they have to go up against each other. I don't think a single one of these teams outside Mexico City makes it above 500. I am even willing to go as far as Fort Worth and Lone Star are right around 3-9, maybe even 2-10 category. Every single team has a tough schedule. It is not going to be easy for either club. Expect it to be maybe just Mexico City and maybe the other 3 teams just hoping to maybe snag the last wild card slot, but it's not going to be easy. They're going to have to pick up wins in games when they're not expected to win. And I like Hacker's comment. It's going to be spicy down south. All right, moving on to the West Division. Coaching wins out. I've included Las Vegas here because, again, they've lost a couple of pieces in Las Vegas, not to mention Tiberius Bovine. Arizona, they've lost a couple pieces, most notably the Hands brothers, and also Bernard Smith backing up Eddie Gage in the defensive backfield. coaching is going to win out. Arizona has an incredible head coach, Eddie Gage. We all know this if you've been with the SFL for at least a hot minute, because we all know how fiery Eddie can get about his Scorpions. We know he predicted them to go, 12-0 to finish out the season and finish out as defending champions. He's back in his club. I don't know if they're going to finish 12-0. I don't know if they're going to finish maybe even 2 games above 500. I think Arizona might be lucky enough to finish at 7-5. For Las Vegas, though, I think they're the sleeper team in the division. I think Las Vegas has always been the sleeper team. It's always been stingy. Expect it to be a fight out between Las Vegas and Arizona. Maybe just Denver getting in on the act late on in the season. But Denver, I think, has a little bit more growing to go. I think Eric Price needs just a little bit more time in the oven to get more consistent. They did play rather well at the end of the season. Another team that did play rather well was Sioux Falls, though their wings have been clipped because Colin Hart is no longer in the offensive backfield, and also they lost Gunnar Lewis to San Diego in the offseason. So I think Sioux Falls is going to be right about where they were in season 17, probably right around 2-10 category as well. Arizona, Las Vegas, it's probably their division to win if the coaching is there. All right, moving on to the Pacific, last division of the night. It's 500 or better. I think every single one of these teams is going to be 500 or better. I know that I was taught that the South is probably not going to finish above 500 except for Mexico City. I think the Pacific has a great chance of finishing up at 500 or above. I have not predicted any team, including San Diego and Portland, to finish below 500 this season. I think they stand a very good chance with the development of all their players and the recent additions to their club, that every single team will either be on the cusp of making the playoffs or be in the playoffs. I think San Diego misses out at 6-6 this season. I think every other team, however, does make the playoffs. They all stand a strong chance. A couple of last minute things before we wrap up. Tomorrow, we'll be talking about the SFLM. I got something to get off my chest about the SFLM and the recent changes from all the way back in season 1 to current day. We moved to season 5. Cam just announced over on the official website that the league is moving back to 8 teams in the league itself. I think and they've also made a couple changes with 2-way contracts that I want to talk about. And that's all coming up tomorrow, same place, same time, right here on NETMA. But before we let you go, a couple extra predictions I've got for you. I let everybody else talk on the Content Creators Roundtable show. I think it's about time I let you guys know my predictions. So, let you know about the divisions. Last 4 teams in the playoffs, in my opinion, are DC, London, LA, and St. Louis. I think those clubs have a really strong chance of getting into the postseason. First 4 teams out of the playoffs. This might change, but this was made a prediction. I'm gonna stay by it. Carolina, Houston, San Diego, and Eddie Gage's ball club, Arizona, I think just miss the playoffs on the final day of the regular season. My pick for season 18 SFL champion will be the Mexico City Aztecs. I think Mexico City finally gets back to the championship. I think they knock off Florida in the title game, and the title heads back south. First pick of the season 19 NFL or SFL draft, however, goes to Jacksonville. I think they are going to struggle mightily. I think they're going to wind up somewhere close to 2-10, maybe even 1-11. Their club, I think, again, a lot of change in the defensive backfield. Let's hope Jacksonville finishes better than that, but I think that's where we stand. And then something I'm looking forward to coming up all this season is the bye weeks. I think whoever performs best out of the new bye weeks in season 18 will be the teams that make the playoffs. So teams have bye weeks all scattered out throughout the regular season. I think the teams that have a early bye week will fare better. So teams like Arizona might do better, especially with only the week 9 bye for their second bye of the regular season. Atlanta and Baltimore both have week 8 byes, which will give them a better chance to set them up for the second half of their schedule. Because I think having a bye at the later part of the week might just hinder you. You might just game plan for the last couple weeks of the season. That's about it. But then if you make it to the playoffs, you stand a lot. You have to try and figure out a game plan for the last couple of weeks, but I think it's going to be the early bye weeks that stand a better chance than the later bye weeks. Love to know your opinions. Hopefully you guys join us in the NETMA Discord, link to which is at the bottom of your screen. And that's just about gonna do it. So we'll see you back here tomorrow, same time, same place, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, right here on the NETMA YouTube channel. If you want to find out more information about the SFL, visit the website, simulationfl.net. You can check out a whole bunch of other podcasts, including myself, including the SimPod, and a bunch of other people, including Lights with AJ Stryker. But until then, folks, that's going to do it. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, ladies and gentlemen.